You were listening to episode 268 of Game Deflators Podcast. My name's John, and I'm joined by Brian.
Hey, everybody, here at the Game Deflators Podcast, we like to talk about games we've recently picked up, games we're currently playing, and we stay golden, Abrax boy, in this week's Inflation Deflation Challenge.
So this week we played some Golden Axe on the PlayStation 3.
Golden Axe Beast Rider.
That is true, Beast Rider. So they took the best part of Golden Axe on the Sega Genesis and they put it into the main focus of the PS3 game, which really isn't the main focus of the PS3 game.
We rode one beast.
One beast.
For about 2 minutes.
And then he died. Yeah. Dude, it was tough to handle it. But we'll go into that in our inflation deflation segment of this week. But first, you can find us on the GameDeflators.com, our out-of-date website. You can find us on YouTube. Just search up Game Deflators on there. At the Game Deflators on Instagram, Facebook, and Threads. And on X, we are seen as Game Deflators. You're listening to us on a podcast app. Leave us a 5-star review. Like, subscribe everywhere that I have told you before. And, yeah, we'll hope to hear from you in comments and get those likes and such in there.
Yeah, happy 2024. Let us know.
Yeah, so this is technically our, first technical recording in 2024 together, but we had our first 2024 episode last week. Kicked off the year pretty nicely, so good to see a lot of listens coming through there. So picking up right where we left off at the end of the year. And then for you and I, this is actually our first recording in person, a month.
Yeah, it's been a minute.
Yeah, it's kind of crazy with the holidays and everything else.
It's nice to be back in the studio.
Yeah, pretty much.
Not having to deal with my own microphone issues.
Yeah, we got to figure that out.
Dude, I tried changing my spaghetti and it didn't help.
Oh, really?
And then I tried Googling the problem, and after about 15 minutes, I gave up.
Really? We just got to get you a new soundboard or something.
I don't know. I already spent money on the one that I have.
Well, I don't know.
I don't have money to buy another thing that I don't really need.
Buy the same one and then send back the broken one. That's how we do it.
3 years old, and I think it was old when I got it.
It's used. Well, anyway, we'll figure it out. Maybe I'll get you one for your birthday. I don't know. We'll get it going. All right. Well, let's look at what we recently picked up and what we're currently playing. So pickups, I got Magic the Gathering cards because that's what I collect on a week-to-week basis. But I also got the Deck of Many Things book from D&D. So that one was supposed to go out in November. And they had some production issues in terms of overall quality.
That's what I heard.
Which is actually kind of cool when you think about it, that Hasbro, Wizards of the Coast, etc., that they saw an issue with their product, and rather than putting it into market and all the bad press that could come from it, said, nope, we're going to catch this early. Let's get it redone. Let's push it back to a later point in time.
And then let's lay off the guy whose idea that was because he screwed us out of money.
Exactly. Actually, maybe that's part of it. That's the catalyst of it all, right? The guy that did the bad printing, he said, I'm going to save us.
The guy who caught the bad printing and told Hasbro they had to fix it, they canned his ass for costing them bottom dollar.
I was thinking it was probably the guy that, decided to cheapen out and went with a different vendor than he should have. But either way, it came in. I haven't cracked it open yet, so maybe we'll do an unboxing for that here, I don't know, soon at some point. But what was disappointing is I ended up buying it from Game Nerds, which I typically purchase from Game Nerds in advance because they have a nice discount. And if you get a few things at once, it's usually free shipping. And then you get points. So I'll get $10 off and stuff every now and then. So when I got the package, it only came with one book as far as the Deck of Many Things. I actually ordered the Planescape Adventures book as well, the trio of books. And that was supposed to come with it, but they lost it, apparently, in their warehouse. So I call them up. I'm like, hey.
Did they find it under a pile of that same book in the warehouse?
I don't know. So I know what happens, but they're trying to resolve it on the back end. So basically, both books were supposed to come out October, November. I ordered them at the same time. Game Nerds has this really weird policy where they won't ship anything. Literally, you can order 50 items, and if one of those items is pre-order, nothing gets shipped until your pre-order item arrives. I think it's the dumbest policy I've ever heard.
Why don't you just do separate orders then?
Well, see, the thing is that when I ordered, they were both pre-orders, and they were both supposed to come in around October, November. So I figured, okay, I'm willing to wait.
It's not like you're going to use it for anything.
Yeah, I know. But it's I was okay kind of waiting an extra month to get it shipped out for pre-order, so I would save on the shipping costs $10, $15, whatever it come out to, right? So I decided against the, going ahead and ordering it. as two separate orders. And then what's funny is I had another book that I actually ordered before that, and I made sure that one was ordered separately because it was coming in like August or something. So yeah, long story short, what I think ended up happening is because the Planescape came out in like October, November, and this one just came out in January. I think they just either sold all of them and just didn't hold for the pre-orders and people like myself that ordered both books, or they were truthful and they just misplaced them in their warehouse and they're trying to locate where they are to get them shipped out. I did get an email that said, hey, I'm going to get it shipped out the first thing in the morning on Monday, and we'll go ahead and get your tracking number and such. So I don't know if that means they found it or that is yeah, we're going to get it sent to you. We're sorry for it. Because the guy I talked to on the phone was like, hey, we don't know if they're still here, if we got to order more, if we got to give refunds. So I got mixed messages from them. Email was different than phone. But either way, I got that in. So we'll do an unboxing, like I said, on that one. And maybe we'll do a little unboxing on the Planescape one when it comes in. And then as far as the Magic cards, I did get my City of Traders finally. We talked about getting a fake last time. This time it's actually real. I did a light test, transparent, no issues there.
Oh, you'll have to show me that again.
Oh,
you
the
said
light
you were
test?
going to.
Oh, yeah,
We'll
yeah.
do it later.
Yeah, we'll do it later. It's super easy. So yeah, I did that, and really happy how that turned out for me. And got myself a reserve list card that'll sit in the collection. And if I want to play Commander, I can use in Commander or use in the Legacy decks that I got built. So really excited about that. And then as far as what I'm currently playing, my wife and I started up Tiny Tina's Wonderland.
Yeah, how are you liking it?
It's pretty interesting. I've been getting motion sick with it, though. It's kind of
Weird.
odd. Yeah, it's really weird. Like, I don't get motion sick with, like, first-person shooters ever. And for whatever reason, this game, there's something about it that's just
Is it
like...
the screen split or something?
No, there's no screen split that we're using. We're not playing two-player.
Oh.
We're just playing single
Why?
player. I don't know. My wife prefers to play single-player game. So... yeah, for whatever reason, it's kind of making me feel a little sick while playing it occasionally. But I don't know. I'm getting used to it. It's been a while since I played a first-person
Borderlands is
shooter.
a little like, I don't know, with the graphics and everything. I definitely remember it always being like a little like choppier seeming or something. Like it definitely wasn't always the most comfortable, like smooth experience from what I can recall.
Yeah, and I noticed with the screen and stuff, it definitely isn't like a nice... like I've played a lot of first-person shooters as of late, or not as of late. It's been a while since I played, but like the ones I have played in the more recent time period, I haven't had that experience with it. You're right. Like Borderlands has a different type of cel-shaded color that comes from it.
I think the last time I played it too, though, was Borderlands on Vita, Borderlands 2,
Yeah,
which definitely is not like an optimum
Yeah.
experience. But man, did it blow me away when I got it.
But this is PS5,
Yeah.
so I mean, this is like updated and everything else. Like there shouldn't be any issues with that. And for whatever reason, just, I don't know, it feels kind of weird to play.
It's your weak constitution, John.
Maybe, I don't know, maybe I need to increase constitution in that game. But it's funny. It's a lot of fun. So I got it for her for Christmas, obviously. And, as I said last episode, and we're both enjoying it. It's pretty cool. It's definitely that looter shooter type of experience that I figured I would be expecting with, with Borderlands. And it's just got that D&D vibe going for it, along with, just the hilarious aspects of, Borderlands and D&D and comedy that comes from it. And then also Tales of Symphonia. So I ended up...
Tell me, John. Tell me where you are.
So I got the Palm Costa, and we ran into some kids or other people who we dropped their potion or something, and they're like, you got to replace our potion. So we go to replace the potion. It's super expensive. And then it turns out that Genus is actually a genius. So learned about
Imagine that.
Yeah, imagine that, right? Got accepted to school, and they're like, oh, you're not, you're too poor to be in this school, blah, blah, blah. Like, the whole thing that comes with it, and he just blows them out of the water for a perfect score. Now, so question for you on that. I'm assuming that's game mechanic or game setup wise, like that's supposed to happen. So why the hell do you have to do studying for a quiz or a exam that they have there for so I had to study before we went like head to head with the other students there to prove them wrong. And I'm assuming it's for Lloyd to see if Lloyd gets a higher score. I don't know. I found it to be kind of odd because like Lloyd is, they make Lloyd come off as like he's an idiot.
Yeah.
Yeah, like he just doesn't know anything. Like at one point, Lloyd is like, oh yeah, Genus knows how to do his multiplication tables. And they're like, yeah, that's easy. Like that's not an issue. And they're like, no, for Lloyd, that's actually like really high level.
Yeah.
I'm like, wow, okay. So there's that whole thing. Turns out that the book that we're supposed to get from the Angels, an imposter has come in And I'm like, really? Like, you just gave away this like ancient book that's supposed to be for this chosen one, and you know who the chosen one is supposed to be, and you're just like, oh, I'll take you for your word. Here it is. Go ahead, take it. And now we're trying to figure out who the hell took it. And then what's odd, I haven't gotten this far yet, but they're like, oh yeah, we got to get out of here and go handle whatever business. So I'm going to leave on a ship, I think it is. And if I'm leaving on the ship, the people that want me to buy that potion are just going to be sitting there the whole time waiting, I guess. I don't know.
I mean, it's a game. You can come back.
I know.
You know,
I just found it funny. I just found it funny because, well, no, like the side quest is the potion. So, but they won't let you progress through the city until you buy them a new potion. So I'm like, that's weird.
Yeah.
So yeah, I don't know what to do there. I might like go out into the main worlds, get some gold, come back, buy a potion.
Is Palma Coast, I forget, is that like the little like small town that's kind of on the coast, or is it the really like elaborate town with like the big like circle and
so
the big market area?
Yeah, they
it's
have
all like stone.
So you enter. I don't know if it's all stone in the center, and then it has like sheep, and it's got like a church that you can go into, and a big school, and then you have the mayor's house.
Yeah.
Obviously part of the city I haven't been able to go into, and then there's like that market that's right on the docks.
So the market on the docks, that's a part that always sticks out in my head because I love like finding the surprise chef and getting like the recipe, and I always remember like finding him like the first time I think in that town.
Yeah, I did get the recipe as well from him.
I love finding that surprise chef in like weird places. It's just one of those memories that always like sticks out to me as like a thing that I enjoyed from those games.
I'm still trying to figure out like what the heck do you do with the food? Like you just cook it and that's it? Does it have any effect on the game whatsoever?
Yeah, so it basically like heals you at the end of battle.
Oh, okay, that makes sense.
So yeah, you use it, you cook at the end of battle, and it just like recovers your like health and MP, so that next time you go into battle, like it eliminates the need to do stuff in the interim.
Okay, so I'll need to start doing that a little more frequently. I guess something new to learn, right?
I mean, is that something that was like maybe giving you trouble in battle before? Like, were you constantly like low on HP going into fights?
Not really, because I usually can handle the battles pretty easily now.
Now that you're defending?
Yeah, and I'm defending and stuff and have all my strategies set up accordingly.
Still just have kind of the same main party?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. I use, what's her name? Rain and Lloyd, the other dude, Colette, and... Kratos, yeah. Kratos.
I know, I always think it's funny thinking of like Kratos versus like that Kratos.
Yeah, that Kratos is like red hair spiky guy with a sword. Yep. Okay, yeah. And then he does the same moves as Lloyd, so you're like, oh, okay, interesting. What's going on there?
You know, it's funny. We'll have to... Yeah, I'll bring it up later.
Okay.
We'll talk later. Because you have a long ways to go in this game. I don't want to give anything away.
Yeah, don't give anything away.
Like,
we're very early on.
When I went into GameStop to buy this game, some guy just dropped like spoiler knowledge on me like while I was in GameStop picking up the game.
Oh, so you're trying to impart that spoiler knowledge?
No, I don't want to. I'm waiting until you get to the part in the game where I can talk to you about like what comes up, because it's like this game definitely, one thing that always makes it stick out in my mind compared to like a lot of other RPGs that I played in the past. And I mean, I'm not notoriously known for finishing long RPG games either.
Yeah.
But this is definitely one that I remember like zigging and zagging several times. Like it's kind of goes in one direction and then you're kind of doing another thing and then you kind of do another thing. And it's like, it has all these different things that I've seen in other RPGs, but just how many different things this game piles on, I think is one of the reasons that it always sticks out to me so much in my mind. Because like by the time you reach the end of this game, you'll have like seen and been and experienced a lot of other things that would be like kind of the whole direction, I feel, of another RPG.
Gotcha. That makes sense. Well, I'll let you know. I mean, obviously, I'll keep talking about it on the podcast.
Every time we talk about it, I honestly want to like just go home and play through it again myself. I asked for the remaster for Switch when it was like $20 around Christmas, but I got the
Pocky and
Rocky instead. But it's like, it's still one of those games that I want to get, even though the Switch port isn't like the optimum version. But I already have it on PS3.
Yeah, I was gonna say I'm playing on PS3, so it's.
I would love the GameCube original just for like nostalgia's sake, but I think it's pretty expensive there.
No, actually, I think it's like $20.
That's like the only 60 FPS like experience for it.
I don't know, honestly. I don't know if enough of the history there, but yeah, I'm pretty sure it's cheap. I want to say it's like 15, 20 bucks.
There's no way.
It's been re-released like multiple times last I checked. I mean, it could have gone up recently.
But it's a GameCube game.
No, I know, but the thing is that game has been re-released multiple times now. You had it on PS3, and then you had the more recent ones as well on Switch.
Yeah, we both have that PS3
Yeah.
one. I love that you have like the big one though.
Oh yeah, dude! I was so excited when I bought that. So
Oh
it's-
dang, yeah, okay.
Yeah.
$30 or $28 complete.
Mm-hmm.
$19 used.
Yeah.
Looks like it's advertised on GameStop for 18.
Yeah, there you go. I mean, GameStop actually might still have it in stock. But the thing with GameStop is you could risk getting it loose. instead
Oh
of a
man,
complete
I have
box.
seen. There's this YouTuber that I've been watching the last like year or two. I think Mr. Matty Plays. He's pretty great. He puts out a bunch of good stuff, but he's been doing these periodic videos where he orders a bunch of stuff from GameStop and then does an unboxing, and it's like, you know, how much man juice is on this stuff? Like, did it actually come in like a real box? Does it have the manual? It's kind of fun seeing him open his stuff and just get like the chaos.
You know, it's actually something I'd like to do for us. Would be something like that.
Well,
you know,
you usually
correct-
just get one thing at a time. Like,
yeah, but I mean, like,
save up your stuff, do a bulk order. We can make videos and do unboxings.
yeah, we could do some unboxings with that. I do know who was it? I think it was it might have been Church. No, it was Jason of Corpse Flood Gaming. I want to say he had a ton of stuff during COVID that like, you know, got stuck because of shipping and stuff to Canada, so he wasn't able to go out to US and pick
Oh,
it
I
up.
remember we talked to him and he said he had like a ton of
Yeah.
stuff that he couldn't bring back,
Including
from his
stuff
PO box.
I sold him stuff too. So he had like tons of stuff from like me and Church and stuff that he had just ordered in general, like different trades. It was crazy. So, but I think he's actually recently sold off his game collection. He's moved more into
that's
like,
right, yeah.
and he's moved into like toys and such. So, all right. Well, how about yourself? Pickups, playing?
Nothing. I just kind of took a break this week. I didn't really do anything. I really wanted to play some games, but I just never really settled on anything in particular. Like I thought about like, oh, let me look up some good Game Boy Color games. Maybe I can check out some old GBC stuff that I never really played on my my micro. Or then I thought, well, you know, I never went back and finished Final Fantasy IX that I was playing after I cracked my Vita. And then I was like, you know, there's so much stuff that I could play. I tried to start maybe my inflation deflation for the year after I went back and after we recorded last time, I beat Pikmin.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's right.
We got the proof on Twitter.
Yeah. So, I mean, all I had to do was the final challenge map, which was super easy. I mean, it's like a couple easy puzzles with the Pikmin, and then you fight the final boss. And it took me like 2 days to do it because I lost a ton of Pikmin. And then I was like, I'll just end this day and then come back the next day and just do the boss fight instead of doing the puzzle and the boss fight. So I wound up getting, you know, all the items and clearing the game. It was pretty fun in the end. I think it was a good experience, and I think cumulatively more happy that I did go back and actually play this, but I don't think it's really going to be calling me back to Pikmin anytime in the near future. Yeah. And then I just borrowed a new game from John to check out.
That's your recent pickup.
Yeah, I'm going to check out Gundam Zeonic Front. I remember this being a game that I got when I was a kid after I played Journey to Jaburo and was like all into Gundam stuff and wanted to check out more stuff. And my love of Zaku's was already burgeoning at the time, so to be able to do that. But I just remember like it having some tactical aspects to it that I didn't really understand or didn't really click for me. So hopefully I can go back, check out that PS2 Slim I got from you, and see if this is really going to be something worth enjoying. And I'll let everybody know about that. Other than that, not a whole lot going on. A little bit of disappointment again with Game Pass this week. I guess I should have realized that this was going to be a feature of Game Pass, but stupid me, you know, I tried downloading a bunch of stuff on Game Pass and then never playing it. Well, once it drops out of Game Pass, it's going to check your license when you try to boot up the title and then send you to the Xbox Store page to buy the title. So you can't just download stuff, keep it in your memory, and then play it later on because you never deleted it. So unfortunately, a bunch of stuff that I wanted to play no longer really have access to there. And and still don't have access to multiplayer stuff because I'm cheaping out and buying the cheap version of Game Pass. So I thought about checking out Warhammer 40k Darktide, which has had a bunch of updates and is supposed to be a lot better, but without Game Pass, I can't play any multiplayer games. Or without the Xbox Live level of Game Pass, I can't play any of the multiplayer games. Same issue I ran into with Exoprimal. So that library of titles isn't as massive as I thought it would be. And I'm actually kind of wondering what's going to happen. I was listening to somebody talking about how Xbox and Activision have kind of like rebooted servers and stuff for old Call of Duty titles. So it would be really interesting in the future to have like all of these old Call of Duty games all available on Game Pass and all having active servers, and you could jump on and play whichever old Call of Duty you want. You know, while you wait for the next one to come out, if they're not going to release one every year anymore.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah, but again, if I don't have the Xbox Live thing,
then
I'm probably not going to be able to play that.
Yeah, that makes sense.
So it's just one of those things. Trying to go on the cheapest tier really does kind of limit some of your access, even if you're just trying to play single player in those games.
Yeah. Well, talking about the new games resolution, I haven't started Alundra yet either. So hopefully...
You didn't even remember what it was.
No, I didn't, but I remember now. So, I obviously have notes from prior episodes, but so Alundra, I haven't started it out yet. I think I'm going to beat Tales of Symphonia first, and then...
Better off that way. You don't need 2 RPGs while you're trying to fall asleep.
Yeah, pretty much.
Or stay awake, I guess.
And then, dude, even today we were playing Tiny Tina's Wonderland. I was falling asleep on the couch while my wife was playing her turn. But no, and I've been sorting magic cards all week. So
God, it takes forever.
Oh my God, dude. I've gone through thousands of cards, and I ended up having I think it was about 2,500 cards that are like excess that I can
just
get rid of.
All more than playset?
All more than a playset, yeah. And so I've filled up, I'm not kidding you, I've filled up 4 5,000 count boxes of after duplicates.
So what do you do with this is the one I always go to, Land of War Elves. How many Land of War Elves do you keep? Do you keep one playset of 4? Or it's been released in so many different sets. Do you keep one of each art from a playset?
So here's the crazy thing about how I'm going to be doing this. And it's going to take me a long time because I got a crap ton of cards still to go through. I mean, I've got at least probably 2 or 3 more 5,000 count boxes. I think 2 after all duplicates are gone, left of cards, right? And that's not including what I've already got in there. So, I mean, I'm sure I'm going to pull out a fat pack box that's loaded with cards or shoe box and be like, oh, I've got, one play set of this card that's here 40 times now, right? So that's kind of the issue I'm running into with a lot of these. The more time consuming aspect is having to take what you've sorted and then go into a pile of stuff that's already done and say, oh, okay, it's a red block of cards. Okay, let me pull out the red of Mirrodin that I already have, and let me match it up with this one and then see what do I have a playset of. That's why I went
all alphabetical the way Thomas did, because it's once you have playsets and stuff, if you really don't need those cards because they're just, I've got 12 full playsets of Land of War Elves from different sets, doing it just straight alphabetical gets rid of that whole problem because you can see every single card just as it is.
Yeah, but at the same time, when it comes to organizing, I mean, you have to consider that you guys, I don't know how Thomas was, but your stuff, you're only 2 or 3 sets in, right? Maybe 4 at most.
Oh, no, I've got more than that from the past, but that's the thing. It's the way that I'm collecting, just doing sealed stuff. It's so dumb for me to make a whole new section for these 8 red cards that I drafted.
Yeah, but see, for mine, I'm going based off of let's just say it's Caverns of Ixalan, right? I have a section that's a marker that says Caverns of Ixalan and all the cards that I have from that collection behind it. So
if there's a card that was reprinted in Caverns,
that's fine.
And you go to that, and you only have one, then you need to figure out what other set that it was printed in and go there to see if you have more copies in that set.
I'm just keeping them for now. Long-term goal is to have them all cataloged via
online.
an app or something, or some online or giant spreadsheet, whatever it is. And then once I know, I've got 4 copies of Land of War Elves here and here and here and here, which one do I like the artwork better for? take them all out and just have the one play set. It could be in 5 different
But then
sets.
you need to figure out which set it's in every time you want to pull them out.
No, because I'll have it all cataloged online.
That's true.
Yeah. So the idea is just like, let me look at what I got and then go from there. So
you're going to have to touch every card to get it sorted.
So,
and then you're going to have to touch every card again to get it input.
Yeah.
And then you'll have to touch every card a third time.
The good thing is that there's applications out there where you literally just throw the card on the camera and it goes beep and then it puts it in.
That's good.
So that's kind of the goal. It's like, okay, let's go through this.
I forget about technology.
Yeah.
I just think about you sitting there typing in Excel.
No.
That sounds like a nightmare.
No, we're not doing that. We're going through
a full-time job.
TCG has an application where you could scan the cards one by one. Now I got to double check because it might have like, oh, you have to confirm and you got to put how many copies. I don't know. We'll figure it out. But basically, my hope is that I can go in and just like scan, and just kind of keep doing it and just chunk it out. Like once I've organized everything, I can then the idea is that then I can say, okay, alpha, scan all of them, beta, scan all of them, and just kind of go through each set. I'm also going to mark them all up by when they came out too. So that's another goal, is to go out like literally year by year and say, okay, this set and in this order. So as I go through, I'm like, okay, and it'll be marked on the outside box. It'll be like this set to this set. So I know this set to this set. And then I got to figure out like where I might store them. So I'm thinking of building some sort of like shelving unit in one of my closets that I can slot them into so that they're off the ground and it's just easier to access. But that's a whole lot of long-term stuff to make happen. Right now, it's just a matter of getting the cards like packed. Like in that closet, there's literally like, I want to say it's like 6-gallon size bags that are full of Magic cards, and each of those hold like 1,500 cards, and they're all unsorted. So the worst thing about it is I got to go through all of these cards, which are tons of different sets, and then I go put them all into their set. Then once I figure out the set, I then got to go into the cards I've already put up and then see what I have play sets and what I don't have, and then any extra goes into a pile, and those are going away. So
do you have all your sets by like broken down by color?
The sets are broken down as in, like, let's just say in Cameron's Lixilon, I have a little section that's colorless, red, blue, green, white, black. And so when I pull out the cards, and land as well is broken out too. So if I'm looking for a particular card and I say, oh, I need this red card, it comes out Cameron's Lixilon. Okay, Ixalan, grab my red. I got how many cards? All right, cool. I need to buy one more. Awesome. I don't. That's fine.
You do by like mana value?
Nope. It's just red. I don't even have them alphabetized because each section, I mean, you're talking like maybe that many cards.
Yeah.
So it's quick to just kind of flip through real fast.
Because you don't have like a full investment where you bought like boxes of boosters.
Yeah, exactly. So,
all
right. Discussion topics. Trends to end in 2024.
Yeah. So we usually do this at the end of every year. Each kind of put out some, one or a couple things that, our gaming trends to end, stuff that we've just seen too much of at this point, and we need to really, let's move on as an industry.
Yep. So I'm going to have one that's Magic. I'm going to have one that is video game related.
Okay.
Here. So
hit me.
All right. So the first one is no more roguelites and roguelikes. I'm done.
I thought that's what you were going to talk about because you just brought that up a few weeks ago.
Yeah, no more. There's too many of them. I mean, they all feel the same. They all look the same to me. They all play the same. I'm done. Like, I get the whole thing, like a comparison of, oh, no more Souls games. But to me, those all have something different to them. They're difficult, but they all have a different type of story tied to them. They all have different magic. Yes, the gameplay is very similar. But for me, that's a totally different experience when I play those games, and I actually look forward to playing those.
What's the last roguelike you played?
I don't even remember, dude.
Returnal?
Huh? Returnal. Yeah, I think that.
Before Returnal?
What was the one before Returnal? I think it was. Wouldn't it be considered Rack and Ruin? Okay. Isn't that roguelite?
So that's like 2 that you've played in the last 5 years?
And to me, like, honestly, just no, I played more than that. But I just don't enjoy them. I'm just not a fan of them. And I get that people aren't a fan of Souls games and they're not a fan of sports games and all that. But I mean, dude, it seems like and Metroidvanias too.
Oh no, that's what you were harping on a few weeks ago.
Yeah,
too many Metroidvanias.
Both of those. Too many roguelikes. Too many roguelites. Too many Metroidvanias in the market. It's like every single indie developer out there. It's like this cutting edge Metroidvania that takes blah 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 and puts it into like whatever story. They're all the same. Like, they all feel the same. They all have the same type of graphics. They all seem like they're this dark vampire type thing trying to recapture this essence of, Castlevania, right? Like, to me, they just all feel the same. And so, and it's not, and they're just everywhere. So like when somebody says, again, to go to Dark Souls, oh, I don't like Soulsborne games, right? That's fine. There's not as many of those games as there are roguelites and Metroidvanias. Like you could go on right now and like top Metroidvanias, you probably honestly find 100 that have been released in the last like couple of years. There's just so many of those games that are being released every day.
Yeah.
You know, like because it's such a quick game to develop for an indie developer. You know, both of those are. You know, the formula is there. So it's like, what else do you have to, like, it's not a, I get that game development, it's hard, right?
Yeah.
And there's a reason that certain people can do it and some can't. But everybody's releasing those types of games. Like, I need something fresh. I need something new. I'm kind of over it. And like every time I pick up a box, I'm like, oh man, this artwork looks really cool. What kind of game is it? Nope. Like, I just don't even want to give it a shot. Like, because it's just the same crap. And I already have so many on hand as well. And then as far as Magic, no more remasters. No more remastered sets. I'm over it.
Dominaria Remastered is already announced.
And Ravnica Remastered.
Oh, Ravnica Remastered.
Yeah, Dominaria Remastered came out a while back.
That's
yeah, I mean, because all you're doing is you're reprinting the cards. We don't need a set that had been released years and years ago and then to have a whole reprint. Like, if that's the case, just release a brand new set.
Don't you want those prices to come down?
They're not coming down, actually. Cyclonic Rift went up.
Oh, really?
Yeah. There's some cards that did go down, but like Cyclonic Rift's probably the best card out of Ravnica, and that actually went up. So luckily I have a playset already. But it went from like $29 to like $35. So, I mean, go figure. No, and Ravnica's not even that great of a set.
I thought Ravnica was one that like everybody really liked. I thought it was like one of the most popular.
I mean, it's a popular set because of like what it is, but in terms of like quality cards, it's, from my understanding and what I played in the past, it's not a ton of good cards out of that set.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah, I mean, you got a few, but I mean, a lot of those cards, the thing is that a lot of those cards that were good back then, there's been reprints of other cards that end up being better, right? So like Cyclonic Rift is a good one, you know, and it'll probably be reprinted as Mythic. That's a good card, right? And they really haven't done a whole lot that do that same thing. But one of the good cards years ago is Glimpse the Unthinkable, and it's like 1 blue, 1 black, mill 10 cards, right? There's other cards out there to mill more now, you know, for like a very similar cost. Or they have rebound effects where they can come back and mill more cards. So, you know, is that a staple in mill anymore? Not really. So, I mean, there's other cards that are better for mill. And so that card went down, understandably. So, I mean, really that's, and then you have like Dark Confidant. Like that's another good card, but there's other cards that have been released over the last, 10 years that do the same thing, if not better than Dark Confidant. So that card's gone down drastically as well in price. So really what it kind of comes down to is that they're reprinting these cards for cash grab. That's all it comes down to. There's better cards out there. Like if you're going to reprint, at least reprint the new standard stuff. Like we don't need an $80 Shield Dread, granted I'm going to sell the one I just pulled. But like Shield Dread should not be $80, right? Like it's standard. Standard's meant to be a quick thing that a lot of people can play into. The standard decks right now to meta is like $500.
Dang.
For like,
and you're over here with your caverns and burn decks.
Yeah, Caves was $25, and I got 4th place the other day. And I would have got better if the guy I'd lost to didn't lose his next 2. So, yeah, I mean, that's just kind of how it is. But, yeah, no more reprints. And not no more reprints, no more remasters. If you're going to reprint standard or, put new sets out and then have, like, the mythic releases like they did Rhystic Study, like the confetti-style foil, those types of things. Do that. That's kind of cool. But just a full-blown set from 10 years ago that is okay? No, not needed.
Yeah.
So those are mine. Those are my trends to end.
So that's some pretty good stuff, John. I don't think that either of yours, obviously the Magic one is not going to happen because we already have confirmation that it will be happening.
Oh, yeah.
Both of my gaming trends to end in 2024 will be resolved in 2024. No more Switch 2 and PS5 Pro rumors.
That's a good one.
They're both going to come out this year.
No, PS5's not coming out. PS4 Pro.
No,
or PS5 Pro. PS5 Pro, yeah.
That'll come out this year.
Oh, yeah.
We're going to talk about it a little bit later.
Oh, sorry. I was thinking PS6 for whatever reason. Yeah, you're good. You're good.
I am, it's been a long time. Every year people predict the PS2, and every year people predict, or not the PS2, the Switch 2 and the PS5 Pro. Wow, did I screw that up by combining
It's
those?
the Super Nintendo Switch, sir.
Yeah, the Super Switch and the PS5 Pro. So those should both finally be coming out this year. Probably not until much later in the year, but it'll be at least nice to, have two more things that I want to get and can't because of, scalpers and just outright not having the money. I'm sure that whatever ends up happening, I think that probably the PS5 Pro will likely be the one I wind up getting, especially if they do some kind of physical redesign and make it look any bit different than what the Slim and the standard PS5 look like. I would probably elect to pick that one up eventually. And then the Switch 2, I got the Switch 1 pretty early in its life cycle. And if it's only going to be like $400, that's probably going to be more affordable than the like $550 or whatever it's going to cost for the PS5 Pro, I'm sure.
Yeah, if the PS5 Pro comes out this year and it has a disc attachment, but it can play a disc, and it's not just like a digital only version, I'll likely sell my existing PS5. Yeah, I'll sell my existing PS5 to be able to get the Pro, or put money towards it basically.
Yeah.
But otherwise, I'll probably stick with the PS5 and then maybe do a Switch 2 if that's what happens this year. But that's only if it has backwards compatibility. Would I get a Switch 2 right away?
Well, and we'll see what even is going to be like on launch for it.
Yeah, that as well.
I did watch an Arlo predicts, and we'll talk about some 2024 predictions in our articles today. But yeah, it seems like there's probably going to be some good stuff launching with that, kind of based off of some timelines. Like, it's been a long time since a 3D Mario. So, new 3D Mario as a launch title would probably be pretty good.
Yeah, I was going to say, it hasn't been that long, but yeah, it has been, because it was Odyssey, and that was like, 7 years ago?
Unless you count the Bowser's Fury.
Yeah, I guess, technically. But Odyssey was there as a 3D, so yeah.
Oh. So, I guess, wrapping up 2023 and moving on with 2024 and news for this year. This week, Xbox users, you better back up your captures now, because those are going to go away. Then we look at a new marketplace that Xbox is really heating up. We'll talk about the biggest predictions in 2024 and close out with some speculation on the PS5 Pro.
All right. Well, the first one here is Xbox users are warned of a mass deletion happening next week, and that is Tyler Fisher at comicbook.com.
Our favorite guy to read.
Our favorite guy. So, so basically what Microsoft has done is they have warned Xbox players for a while now, actually, via private messages or DMs.
I remember seeing this come up and was like, cool.
You're like, whatever. So basically media files. So if you've got any videos or images or things that you have screen capped or video capped or whatever within your Xbox experience, those will be gone in 90 days, I think is what they said.
Yeah, moving forward, they'll have a 90-day auto deletion, and anything that's currently in your files. We're kind of coming out late with this news because I think this goes into play tomorrow on January 9th. So yeah, if you hear this first thing in the morning, run to your console, back it up.
Well, and so here's the other negative thing. You can't back this up like to your Xbox hard drive. It'll actually get deleted there too. So this is actually kind of concerning when you think about it.
Xbox.
Yeah, you got to do a separate drive and take it off the Xbox completely to be able to back up your video files.
Or OneDrive. I think it says you can back up to.
It wouldn't surprise me. OneDrive is a Microsoft thing, but even like Teams has like a 90-day period as well where it'll delete things. So it's kind of concerning, though, when you think about it. Like, okay, if you have a hard drive and say you purchased your hard drive, it's expanded, you're throwing it onto your Xbox, you're anticipating, hey, it's my hard drive, I can do what I want with it, I can use it however I feel, and save whatever types of video and images to that on my Xbox hard drive. It's concerning that they're actually actively deleting things on that hard drive.
Well, but maybe it's like, I don't know, maybe if you get like one of the expandable memory cards or something, maybe it won't take it off of there.
Maybe, but when I think about my PS5 and the videos and stuff that I have, I've got those videos on my PS4 as well. My videos that are on there are my videos. I've never had any issues with Sony deleting them. Who knows, maybe they do down the road and that's an issue, but I think the concerning thing is that Microsoft is actively saying, hey, we're just going to access your hard drive and delete stuff whenever we need to because, just need to delete it. Whereas with Sony, I've learned, I don't have enough space. Let me go in and see what I still need or what I don't want, etc. And so that's how I've usually handled things. So it is a little concerning that Microsoft's just like, screw you. We're going to access your stuff and there's nothing you can do about it.
Yeah, I wonder if this has anything to do with, because didn't we talk about the policy where they were going to update like reporting people and how you would be able to like send in like a capture or something of like them cussing at you or saying something racist or, dying on purpose or whatever. And then that would get reviewed by a system, but it would automatically get deleted after some time. I wonder if that kind of had any inspiration with this or vice versa.
Maybe. I'm not sure. All I know is it's a really crappy situation overall for Xbox gamers, and I'm glad I don't have an Xbox. So, moving on to better Xbox things, though. The Xbox Series S toaster is real and now available to buy from Walmart. And this is Robert Anderson at IGN.
Yeah, so the first thing that I saw this, I was like, like they did the fridge. That's funny. And then I made probably, I don't know, I think it's a stunning realization or something that I never really considered, but I think that a toaster that can only toast one piece at a time might be one of the most worthless piece of technology. Like, if you can't cut a bagel in half and do the whole job, what are you even doing?
That's so baffling to me, man. Like,
I mean, it's too skinny to hold two pieces.
Yeah.
So it makes sense. But yeah, like a toaster that can only do one piece.
No, that's a little ridiculous. I don't know of any toasters that can do just one piece.
Like, it does emblazon an Xbox logo on that piece of toast.
But here's the thing, man. I can go buy a toaster right now that will put Jesus on my toast. So it's not like it's breaking technology to put the Xbox logo on your toast.
No, it's kind of cute though. I mean, for $40, I mean, if you're have a gamer themed kitchen, go for it. Or if you make toast next to your gaming space, You know
what? I bet Microsoft, because it only does one piece of toast, are anticipating people to buy two of these, and then they're going to count it as Xbox Series S consoles being moved. I mean, it makes sense.
I mean, or you could just call that a LAN party.
Have a toast party.
All right.
So moving on.
That's all we got for that. That's a pretty quick one.
Yeah. Okay, so 5 big video game industry predictions for 2024. It's Jason Schreiber at Bloomberg who has marked this one out. Do you want to go ahead? You have it up. You could take a look at the predictions and let us know.
Jason Schreier, obviously a big guy in the industry, often giving lots of good in-depth reporting and news. But these are some of his biggest predictions for 2024, and I thought that they would be kind of good to go over and then also kind of give our view on some of these as well here. Prediction number 1 is that Saudi Arabia will go big on gaming. So Saudi Arabia in recent years has been trying to kind of diversify out a little bit more from oil specifically, which they've been known for as, a major exporter in the world. They've been dipping their toes into other industries, hosting... what is it, like that PGA competitor,
they got Live Golf,
UFC and WWE fights, or WWF or something like that. And now they're expected to probably get into gaming in a big way. And he's not sure, how that's all going to play out. I mean, obviously, Saudi Arabia as a country has, their own laws and rules and how they govern and what they see as the way that they exist in the world. And when you acquire an entity from another country, like a gaming studio or like a publishing arm, those people live where they live and they have their own views. So sometimes when you have like a buyout, like he raises opinions here, there may be reasons why people don't really want to continue working there. And in an industry that's already been fraught this year, especially with so many kinds of layoffs and stuff, that can provide some tough choices and really kind of change the direction and formula of a studio. I mean, obviously, a studio is how the industry would like to be known, by this faceless name that put out this game one time and then forever is associated with that. But really, it's the people behind the game that make up the lifeblood of the studio that build those games and make them the way they are. So just because, a big money company comes in and buys something doesn't mean it's really going to have that life. And I think we've seen a lot in the last year, especially with, who was it? Any number of studios, I guess, that got laid off.
Yeah.
You buy up all this property and you buy up all these studios, and then at the end of the day, paycheck doesn't come in. You got to make layoffs, and then the whole lifeblood of everything that you bought for name recognition is basically gone. Well, you can try to revive it later, but it's not the same.
Yeah, and I think for me, I would not want to see Saudi Arabia get deep into gaming. A lot of that, it stems from, really, again, the way to govern things over there and the way that things are handled from, they've brought up, treatment of women and things of that nature in the past over there too, or issues in Saudi Arabia. So how does that translate to the gaming scene? And, how, women are depicted, or how alcohol and violence and other things are depicted in video games. And, what are they going to take franchises that we've known to love over the years and does it get completely skewered and changed up, to fit this vision and mold of what another country deems to be proper, right? So, and I know that that's an issue that we've seen. And actually, when there was rumors of them purchasing WWE, it was a similar situation where it was the women in the company are going to want to leave. You know, just based on the things that are going on in that country. So, yeah, it's I don't think that'd be good. As far as the consolidation, I think that's one of the predictions on there too for 2024.
Consolidation will return.
Yeah, consolidation returning, and a lot of it has to do with the interest rates being lowered and the ability for companies to go out and with cheaper money be able to purchase, other gaming companies and studios. So I do think we'll see more consolidation. I don't necessarily think it's for the best, but luckily there's enough studios coming in out of the woodworks on a frequent basis that are kind of building themselves up that, hopefully we have enough new IPs coming in that can support overall growth in the video game industry as a whole to offset some of the consolidation that's happening from a lot of the other companies.
Yeah. Next up, games as a service will face a reckoning. And this has already kind of started happening. I think we talked about it a few weeks ago, or a lot of people in the industry were talking about Hyena's getting canceled. Fully finished, developed, already had betas and was basically ready to lock and load live service game that was totally killed off. Sony announced a slate of up to 12 live service games. Now they've kind of announced 6 of those, and who knows what's actually going to wind up happening with the rest of them. For the most part, live service as a trend is one of those things that the industry has been chasing long enough and seen a lot of money lost on, that I think at this point they're finally starting to learn that lesson that, hey, you know what? Live service at the end of the day is a huge moneymaker, but there's only room in people's time for so many of them. And if you don't really have a good idea that's going to be different and make you stand out and be something exceptional, then you're just throwing money away trying to do something that's already been done, maybe not even better, but just has already been done and already has people locked in. Nobody's going to go to your slightly different game, even if it's a little bit better, if them and all their friends and they've already spent hundreds of dollars in cosmetics on this other game. It's just not going to happen.
Yeah, I've steered away from live service games for very good reason. And it kind of, I haven't played Apex in a long time. That's the only live service game that I played, and I didn't put any money towards that game. But that's one of the big reasons, right? I'm not going to put any money towards it because things can happen. Things could get deleted. The game could go off, and it's no longer available to me to play. So, to me, it's just not of interest to continue playing games like that. Outside, something like Apex, I don't mind if I'm not putting money towards it and I can enjoy it and have fun, and not have to worry about the cosmetics. But when you start getting into situations of, needing to pay to access certain maps or anything like that, that to me is a little much.
Yeah. So, and lastly, here we have the union effort will begin for real. Lots of gaming studios have had some small dabblings with unionization to try to protect workers' rights and move the industry forward in some better ways. And he's really starting to think that, especially after how brutal last year was, these workers need to come together, express their rights and try to get into a better position. I am fully behind that. I think that it would be great for any industry, not just the gaming industry, to look into unionizing and trying to take back some of the power from, the people who have elected to take all of the money for themselves.
Yeah, unionizing of gaming. I mean, we're seeing, like you said, in various areas in the gaming space. Obviously, the voice acting component's a big area where there's unionization happening. We had the writer's strike and all of that. I'm sure it would not surprise me if we start seeing, a whole issue with strikes in terms of developers and, a slowing. And God, that'd probably honestly be the worst if they thought that the voice acting component was bad or just acting in general was bad for video games and delaying things. Imagine if like developers went on strike. And like that would completely.
They've laid off so many. There's so many out there that like at this point, even if you tried to unionize, you'd have so much excess labor in the market that wants to work that you'd probably get people scabbing over. But I mean, it'll take some time to build up. But if we can really start the push now, it might not come to fruition for a few years, but like by the time PS6 and AI development is really starting to roll out, I mean, you want to have already been through the hardest part of this and on the other side a stronger force. Otherwise, they're just going to walk all over you guys and leave you in the dust. It's going to happen. I mean, AI is going to come for everybody eventually, but while you can still just use it as a tool to enhance your ability to work, now's the time to, get that strength so you don't get shut out completely.
Yeah, makes sense. All right.
And there was one that we missed, the first one here, because the headline was like above an ad.
Oh, okay.
But the Switch 2 will have an unexpected twist, which I think is pretty evident. Everybody knows that Nintendo always has to Nintendo somehow on top of stuff. And, I mean, I've already thrown my hat in the ring for what I think the Switch 2 gimmick is going to be, being able to attach the Joy-Cons on the top and bottom so the console has a portrait mode as well as a landscape view. But we'll see what actually comes of it, whether it's going to be, some kind of VR, AR, something or other.
Yeah, I mean, with the Switch, I think what will end up happening is like a homage to the Wii U, where you'll be able to have games to where it somehow is able to connect maybe it has like the base station, and then you have your handheld component that separates. So the Switch is still kind of alive, right? You can kind of play it in handheld mode. You can play it with friends in that kind of handheld mode. You can play it docked. You can play it both docked and in the handheld mode, so it has the ability to kind of show to screen something else and might be on the tablet. So I think you'll have something like that's released. But we'll see. Some of what I've heard, and I posted an article on several of our social media pages, is that the next, version of the Switch is likely going to not have upgraded hardware. It'll be the same type of deal. It'll be using older hardware, and it does make you wonder, like, how much longer can Nintendo do this? And, can they potentially run into another Wii U situation? Mm-hmm. It's very possible with this.
I mean, that's the thing. Like, it's like every other generation that Nintendo does well or doesn't do well. So, I mean, they're due for something that's a failure. Although, with their track record now, and if they just keep it going, I mean, if they just made the Switch stronger, that's all they would need to do. They literally wouldn't need to do anything else.
Yeah, that's what, another part of me thinks, like, are they going to just release it's a pro version and it's upgraded and it's backwards compatible and there's new games that can be developed for it? But it just kind of allows people to continue playing those Switch games and continue, grabbing those versus an entirely new console altogether. So we'll see. But diving into our inflation deflation of the week, this time we're playing some Golden Axe Beast Rider on the PlayStation 3. It was developed by Secret Level, published by Sega, designed by Don Anderson, and it was released in October of 2008. It is an action-adventure hack-and-slash game with reception of a 4 to 5 out of 10. So that's not 4 out of 5, it is 4 to 5 out of 10. Ryan, you got a synopsis here for us?
Yeah, so we start off the game as Tiris Flair. She is the protagonist female. What is she? An Amazon warrior type character. Golden Axe is traditionally like a, straightforward hack and slash, and this turns all that into 3D. We are a part of some kind of sisterhood, and we are opposed to the Death Adder, who is the evil big bad, and his what do they call him, bogeyman minions. So we start off on our journey to have some kind of ceremony for us to get chosen by the Dragon Titan. And we make it to the platform, and the dragon starts breathing his magic fire on us. And then, oh no, the Death Adder's minions attack to try to steal the dragon or something like that. So it's our job to stop that shit from happening and then defeat the Death Adder in the long run. So, pretty straightforward, adaptation of an old school arcade game that didn't really need a lot of direction. And now they're like, okay, let's adapt this to 3D, throw some story in there, push the boob physics. Like, let's get this out the door and on a PS3.
I like how the first shot of that game, by the way, because you mentioned boob physics, is it shows her face and it just has the
pan down to
the pan down to the butt and then through the legs to see the enemies coming your way. I'm like, really? Like, I guess it's 15 years ago.
That PS3 aesthetic.
Yeah, it's got the PS3 aesthetic for sure. And then I called out. I'm like, yeah, they got the boob game for sure. Despite the fact that the rest of the game is not that great. In my experience here, it's hack and slashing. We had some issues with the controller that decided all of a sudden it didn't want to work anymore. So we had some weird jumping and slashing at random on that. Got a new controller in, all was good. But I still found that things like the parry were kind of slow and lagged. It was kind of slow to evade. The camera angles were not exactly the best. It just really was kind of hard to deal with that. There was no lock-on for enemies, which really sucked. And that's not a feature that didn't exist. That feature has existed for many years. So not being able to lock on your enemies and individually select them kind of hurts, along with the slow pace of that character movement. And it just kind of trudges along, which was bothersome to me. And then, of course, it is pretty bad in terms of screen tears. I noticed a lot of screen tears on my end. I don't know if you noticed them or caught them at all, but I don't know. I'm kind of prone to seeing those types of things when I'm playing games, and there's a lot of screen tears that are happening. So, as far as like the overall combat and like what I was experiencing, I wouldn't say it was terrible.
It's just
it's just
so
not
basic. Like when you have a 2-button controller and you're just doing side-scrolling 2D hack and slash, I can get behind that. But when you're like fully 3D and you're trying to tell me there's a light attack, a heavy attack, and a knockback, but there's not really like anything beyond that, like a couple magic spells, but it's like you could combo, but you can't combo like Devil May Cry or God of War, which are the contemporary, games to this, or games that came out before. This was a PS3 game. Those are both PS2 titles. And they were, worlds ahead of what this game was actually capable of. So I think that that's one of the things that most reviewers were really disappointed with, is just that this seems like such a bland, basic game in a modern era, and it should have really pushed forward. And I think that's kind of one of the things that I'm glad we looked back at this, because seeing that Sega announcement at the Game Awards with all the new games that they were going to release and a modern Golden Axe, I was kind of like, okay, I'd like to see somebody try to push that to a modern approach and see like if you really went all out with what you could now on that, what that would look like and how effective it would be. Obviously, at this point in time when they tried to do that, they really didn't put the full effort of what they could have done or modernize it in a full realized way. They kind of just did kind of what I would say was like the most basic first draft approach at adapting that type of game into a 3D and not really expanding on it in any meaningful way.
Yeah, and like graphically, the game is not bad, by the way. Like when you have the cutscenes are actually for a PS3 game pretty damn good, from what we saw. So, and the story component of it does kind of seem appealing, right? The overall aspect of what you're doing there. So I think a lot of it for me really did kind of come down to the gameplay. Even playing on the Aberex, right? When we jumped on the back of that, and we were trying to do the flames and the slashing and with the tail whip and all that. And it was just clunky. It's just not, it doesn't play well.
It didn't last very long.
No, but it was difficult to try and, just like in the game when you play on side-scrolling hack and slash, it stops to do its attack, right? But the problem with that is you're also playing in a game now that's 3D where you have enemies coming from 4 different directions and attacking you. So if you're trying to aim at one enemy and you're creature stops, well, now you're getting hit by 3 or 4 enemies being pelted. So what are you supposed to do at that point? You really can't. You have to run around in circles to try and line it up accordingly. Are you going to hit them? Are you not? Like, that to me is not appealing, right?
Getting overwhelmed was really
and like
hard in
you
this
could
game.
you could tail whip them and do all of that, but they still get up. It's not like they just die all of a sudden. So what am I gonna do? Sit there and just tail whip 3 or 4 times in a row to clear out enemies? Like, that's not fun.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, for me, like, just looking at this from a reception basis, I wouldn't say it's a 4 to 5. I'd probably put it like a 5.5 to a 6, maybe, like right down the middle there. That's kind of what I would see it as, and it's not one that I would probably revisit.
Yeah. Well, getting down to brass tacks, game is going to cost you $15.16 complete in box. That peaked back at $20.61 in September of 2021, and that's trending up a little bit. Loose, it'll run you $10.87. That peaked at $40 back in October 2008, right after the game came out, and that is currently trending down.
I can't say this is worth $15.
No, I can't say that it's worth 10 loose.
Yeah.
This is a game that I would just say, you know what? It's inflated. Give it a pass. Play a different game.
Yeah, I agree with you. Or play the original. I mean, we played the original. We had a pretty decent time with that. That one's actually kind of fun. And it's a quick game to beat as well. I think you're going to get, I wouldn't say the same experience because you're looking at this from a story component more so and, you know, the graphics. But if you're wanting to play like the Golden Axe experience and the hack and slash and riding the Abrax and launching fireballs and that type of stuff, I feel like you're going to have just as good of a time playing on the old one
Probably
than
better.
you are, or better than you are on this
what
one.
Golden Axe really was. This is a fake adaptation of what Golden Axe could be.
Yeah. So definitely inflated. So that's a way to kick it off. We'll kick off our second game of the year here. Well,
Inflation, deflation.
deflation, yeah.
Game of the year.
Game of the year. Well,
2008's Golden Axe.
Technically, it is our second game of the year that we're playing.
Yeah.
Technically, the first, actually, because we played the other one January 31st, January 30th, yeah. So, or December 30th. Yeah. Man, I'm all mixed up today. I need to eat some food. That's where we are right now. We're about to play some D&D, so we'll have an update on that probably next week. And we'll try and figure out what game we want to play next. So we'll get to y'all on that too. But this has been episode 268 of the Game Deflators Podcast. My name's John.
I'm Ryan.
And thanks for listening.